Bro, this door keeps moving on its own.
This door is moving by itself, but I suspect it's just the wind. With that said, I think I can hear some voices in the background, yet the reflection in the glass shows no one is there. Listen for yourself. After seeing a video like this, I'm gonna go check my locks. Whimsical YouTuber Erwin Saunders is being stalked through his magical forest by a fangirl named Carol, and together they spot something special. What was that in the cave? They see her again in the light.
So this species, because they're relatively calm, she doesn't seem to mind us being here, so...
Oh, she's so
gone
cute.
in.
And then again up close.
Can I talk to her or anything? Can I say anything? Shall I say anything?
No, just stay still.
No. Okay.
I really missed Erwin's captures like this, even though they're kind of creepy, and I think Carol is a great addition to his magical team. Who's there? Your worst nightmare. Posted by Deadhead Gillies to the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor says there's something knocking in the walls, and we don't have to take her word for it because she has video proof. It sounds like someone is knocking insistently at the door, only there's no one there. She says this has continued for 2 months. She's not the only one to have had such an experience. Redditor Ritual Maniac writes in the comments that the same knocking pattern occurred at a house she once lived in, along with other paranormal happenings like voices, doors opening, running, etc. When they moved, everything, including the nightmares and unexplainable bad feelings, all vanished. The Redditor says this knocking wasn't heard initially and just started happening randomly as of late. At one point when her boyfriend lived there, he even heard laughing and whispering. The Redditor said after sending the videos to her grandmother, a pastor was supposed to come and visit, but of course an ongoing event began earlier this year and prevented that. Some in the comments think it's the pipes, others say it's likely a pesky animal, but myself and many others are leaning towards the paranormal. Game of Onions writes, let him in already, must be cramped in there, but I wouldn't take that advice. Here's a scary basement we should all probably get out of. Published to YouTube by an everyday Canadian in April of 2016. The Canadian says in the clip he heard a banging in the basement that wasn't the washer or dryer. His kids are asleep upstairs and he's freaked out about the sounds coming from below. As he heads downstairs to the unfinished basement, you hear immediately what he's talking about. A loud bang in the darkness is heard off to his right. Still, he continues to descend. After turning his light on, he scans the room. The light catches a small toy shopping cart in one corner of the room that's apparently not supposed to be there, judging by the man's reaction. The little cart then starts moving on its own before zooming across the room towards him.
What the was that? What the
This is where the video ends abruptly. We hope that the everyday Canadian made it out alive. This video of the Ishima Hoyashi Bridge in Japan looks like one of the scariest places in the world to drive over and has the internet freaking out. It resembles a terrifying roller coaster more than a bridge, but I found a video of someone going over it, and while the ride is creepy, it's probably not as bad as you thought. I just wanted to show what going over this bridge is really like, since the video went viral not too long ago. The reason why the bridge is built like this is to give extra room for boats to go under. It makes sense, but doesn't really make it any less scary, especially if you already have a fear of bridges to begin with. This old house is allegedly haunted by the angry spirit of a previous inhabitant. Watch what happens in the dark basement shortly after a ghost hunter, named Lylil Show sets up a camera and leaves. As soon as the lights turn off and the door shuts, an abnormal amount of orbs dance all around the camera, which then tips over. I think this is more than a coincidence because it happens within 5 seconds of his exit. Something down there obviously doesn't want to be filmed. The angry spirit resists all attempts to communicate. Here it swats an electrometer used to detect paranormal disturbances in the air. Between this and the camera falling over, I think the spirit wants to be left alone, and I think it's probably best to respect its privacy before it gets any more insistent. Ethan Menard and his friend are out exploring when they find a long tunnel that gives off a creepy vibe. When they are commenting on how dark the tunnel is and just trying to keep calm in general, when suddenly a small child's voice chimes in somewhere behind them.
It's like pitch black in here.
The timing of this creepy small voice is quite a curious and morbid coincidence. It simply says hello at just the right moment during a pause in their conversation.
It's like pitch black in here.
Whether this was real or edited is up for you to decide, but I think there is a strong chance that something paranormal was down there. Om is a popular YouTuber from Delhi, India, who for 2 years has been steadily growing his channel Om Vlogs. At first, he would do normal things like go to a museum or an amusement park, but about a year ago, he started to get into ghost hunting. Now he goes on ghost hunting explorations all the time, and they are really good. Delhi has a population of about 30 million people, so we are talking about a single city with as many people as the whole state of Texas, which means plenty of places to explore and plenty of ghosts to be found. So recently, Om Vlogs went to a building that was so cursed he wouldn't say the name of it or where it was, only that it was a restaurant in his hometown where something horrendous happened that made them close down and never reopen. On May 13th of 2020, they visit it for the first time, or at least try to. They don't get far because a presence guarding the area won't let them go inside. They stay at what they mistake for a safe distance and peer in. There's a light that's orange here at 8 minutes and 9 seconds coming from an otherwise dark room. They don't see anything else and chance a closer look. Om is talking more about the place when a mysterious shadow descends the wall at 12 minutes and 23 seconds. A minute later, they learn beyond a doubt that something is inside.
आवाज देखिए आवाज नहीं देखी ये देख उधर के ईंट निकल गई है.
His friend is standing next to him, so it's not him. They dare not enter, but they stick around for a bit longer. At 15 minutes and 22 seconds, a single pixel goes white while recording a room on the second floor. When they zoom out, the light mysteriously goes away, but not before more black shapes pass over it. By now, it's getting late, so Om is wrapping up the video when he senses something watching him and points out a shadow figure that only he can see in person. It doesn't show up on camera, at least not that I can see, but you should remember this area for later because things are about to ramp up. Apparently whatever is in there is not happy to see them again when they return a few weeks later. This time a white-robed figure with a demonic head and 2 horns leans on the brick wall as if taunting them to try and go in, which they don't notice and proceed to do. They shine their light into a blown-out window and eyes waverly reflect at 7 minutes and 5 seconds. The restaurant is obviously no longer taking reservations. They stand and brace themselves for whatever comes next, and when nothing happens, they decide to explore a few rooms before returning to the main area. As they think about whether to leave or not, a terrible feeling washes over them, and their camera goes out of focus like something is near, and it is. Om puts his hand up to shield the group from something they can't see, but we can. At 10 minutes and 58 seconds, it's coincidentally standing in the exact same place where Om thought he saw something the first time. The building becomes more displeased with each passing moment.
तो कुछ आप क्या कुछ ऐसा करके दिखा सकते हो?
But when they go into the room to leave, its guardian is absolutely gone. I guess it knew they were leaving and letting them pass without harm. And I think I heard a fire alarm at 11 minutes and 18 seconds, even though the place clearly doesn't have one. I suspect it once burnt down. And what you heard was paranormal residual energy from the event. Ohm never does reveal the location, but there is a comment left by someone who thought they recognized the location, and I thought this was interesting. If someone could please confirm that this location is on the Cardinal Bypass Road in Delhi, that would be helpful, and tell us anything else you know about its haunted history. This pair of Russian men took the lives of some of the most vulnerable amongst us, the homeless, and they did it so cruelly that they thought it was best to film their evil. The young men used hammers and knives, taking the lives of 6 homeless people in November of 2010. They ranged from the age of 12 to 69. One of the young men's uncle discovered the video on his nephew's camera, and the pair were subsequently arrested and charged for their actions in April of 2013. One was given 24 years and the other was sentenced to life. Neither sentence seems long enough. Luke either has a problem with his car's motion detection system or his house is haunted. No in-betweens. So I know it's probably mistaking the can for a person because they're about the same size, but why does it suddenly do this? The trash can obviously doesn't move, and yet the icon abruptly turns towards him after 20 seconds of recording. It doesn't turn left, it doesn't look behind, it looks straight his way for no reason. Is this a real ghost sighting video or a glitch with his car? 4 friends are playing Wii Sports late at night with no one else home and no one expected to join them later. Keep in mind, this is 2008. When recording yourself playing video games without showing the actual screen was normal. Anyway, with their backs turned, a mysterious figure darts past the window unnoticed and unannounced. This strange silhouette is transparent and just kind of appears in the middle of the window out of nowhere, more like a ghost than a person passing by. Or it could be the person in the white shirt's reflection when they leave the frame and bend over, accidentally creating the illusion of someone running past. A man has been plagued by a demonic invasion that refuses to give him peace. On February 9th of 2017, he records not 1, but 2 shadow figures ominously standing nearby. All you can do is hear his nasal breathing as he watches, stunned and trying not to scream, all while this heavy drape breathes in and out all by itself. Watch how it moves. That's not the wind. Besides, it was staying still for the past 4 minutes and 40 seconds prior. And you don't even want to see what's moving on his other window. I'll show you its true form in just a little bit, but for now let's focus on a couple different incidences first. On July 22nd of that same year, he is turning over a crystal again and again, possibly in hopes that some of its protective energy will rub off on him. Slowly but surely, this bright spot begins to manifest itself before his very eyes, starting at 1 minute and 33 seconds. Hope turns to horror as the omen spins around to reveal a grinning reptile-like face that he's sure is the Lord of the Underworld himself, its stony face shrouded in half darkness. This ties into a separate incident 12 days earlier on July 10th. That's when he claims to have recorded what he calls a ghoul lurking in the bush outside of his window. When you pause at 3 seconds, it does look like the top half of a skeletal face that soon disappears into the bushes, black eyes and all. That definitely wasn't a normal animal, so what was it? It looks remarkably similar to the face seen in the crystal nearly 2 weeks later. Sometimes it would show up in the most unlikely of places, like the folds of a piece of fabric as shown here on February 15th, 2017. Do you see the creepy goblin face with a long nose, big ears and open mouth? I can even see an eye, and that's the more friendly of the two faces. This second one looks like two worried eyes and a mouth locked in a permanent scream. There's not as much detail and some of the features are disproportionate and misshapen, but it's still there nonetheless. So now that you've seen the demon's face a few times, I suppose you are ready to see the rest of it and the rest of the original video. This is what he saw crawling into his home that fateful early February day. This upside down creature is in fact one of the many beings who he claims to see on the regular. It's hard to make out exactly what this is, but it's harder still to disprove it, and it gives me a bad feeling all around. I tend to believe this video, and all of these sightings for that matter. He claims the quality of the video has somehow sharply deteriorated over time since uploading, and that the being at one point looked more detailed and even had horns. I don't see how this is possible for a digital copy to become less clear, but the colors do look muted here and apparently were brighter. So I want to know if you think that this man is legitimately seeing demons around his house, or if this is all happening in his mind. As much as I want to believe this is a delusion like some people think it is, I don't necessarily agree. The problem is I do see a lot of what he claims on video, so there's a good chance it could be true. Jared and Sable buy a USB stick from the deep web, completely unaware of what they are about to get themselves into. This strange man conducts an imaginary orchestra in his mind as classical music plays. I don't think I've ever seen this person before in any popular movies or shows, so I am going to assume that this clip is both original and homemade. Let me know if I am wrong. Next up is a wall of vanity license plates with first names, almost like someone has been collecting them as trophies for a long time.
Gary, Grant, Greg, Heather, Heidi, Jalen.
Eventually, Jared and Sable find another clip that I really hope is from some kind of video game or something like that. Again, tell me if you recognize this scene from anywhere. If not, then I don't even want to know the actual source.
Ooh, gruesome. Is that zombies?
I keep getting the feeling that this videos were connected to a string of disappearances somehow. The elderly woman apparently is the one who holds the answers.
I know who did it. I know who did it.
Worst of all, Jared and Sable have trouble getting the video to stop playing, almost like it's cursed. I'm not saying that these videos are 100% real, but even if it turns out that all of the clips are fake, I suppose somebody still could have edited them together as clues to help solve something they've done wrong. Built in the 1800s, the historic Jefferson Hotel in Jefferson, Texas is haunted as can be. Every once in a while, it's not uncommon for a guest or two to complain about hearing voices at night or feeling a hand grazed by their cheek while dozing off. The owner of the hotel is doing some remodeling and walks past a door that suddenly opens all by itself. He says that the door was securely shut and that he actually heard it unlock before it opened. The scary CCTV video does in fact show him turning around a second before the door opens, so his story indeed checks out, but that's not even the scariest moments caught on camera by him. This is way worse. Creepy video of the same hallway on a different night depicts a dark shadow passing over the green door at the far end, a room where most of the activity takes place besides this hall, and when it does so, the lamp turns off on its own. Considering a jilted bride once took her life here, and the spirits of countless children are known to play tricks, this bizarre shadow person could be any of the usual suspects. I believe this ghost video's real simply based on the hotel's legendary haunted status alone. With videos this creepy, it's a wonder anyone would want to stay here for long, unless they were purposefully trying to get scared. In the Dominican Republic in April 2013, uploader DR Local encountered a mysterious sea creature. During a scooter-powered night scuba dive, the time was 9:15 p.m., while the depth was 20 meters. The creature was reportedly bony, 3/4 of a foot long, with a small head and sharp teeth. It also had translucent fins and a purple and steel sheen-colored body. The mysterious creature swam both backwards and forwards, The dorsal fin helped it maneuver both directions and propelled it at higher speeds moving forwards, which made it appear more eel-like rather than blade-shaped. According to the uploader, what could this eel-like creature be? YouTube commenters, of course, are full of suggestions. Doom Octopus said it looked like a young oarfish, while Zane Reavers said it was a cutlass fish. Both of these seem plausible, but Sampal's suggestion seems to be on the nose. It's a hairtail, very common around Sydney, Australia, usually fished at night by a very dedicated fisherman, very sharp teeth, and not too bad to eat. Whatever the thing is, I wouldn't want to run into it in the depths of the sea at night. A wild dog takes a piece of meat into the corner and devours it in large bites. The dog's ribs jut out, and I'm willing to bet it hasn't seen a meal like this in a long time. It's no doubt willing to do whatever to keep this food, and in a moment you're about to see for yourself. The animal tenses up and then charges the camera. At the 6-second mark, you can see it appears to chomp the fence in an attempt to get to them. Luckily, the cameraman appears to be alright. Carly Gum is a YouTuber who learned the hard way what happens when you stick your tongue to a pole in freezing weather. Eventually, she is able to rip her tongue away from the surface, leaving a red stain behind. I hope she is okay, but I wouldn't be surprised if her tongue needs medical attention by the end. James Parr records his young nephew as he shrieks at something he sees on the wall. This continues for quite some time. It's hard to tell what the child is thinking, but it seems like a combination of nervousness and excitement. More than once he appears to back away, as if he is fearful of something that is nearby. The child does seem to be completely fascinated by an otherwise blank wall, which is strange, but I am not so sure that this video is paranormal. The kid may just be playing games with his own shadow. What do you think is going on here? Police in Michigan need to find a woman who has fallen from a dock through the ice before it's too late. The officer comes across two fishermen holding on to a poor woman who fears for her life. If they let go, she's going under. There's little time left. She's freezing. Hypothermia is the name for a dangerous drop in body temperature. From prolonged exposure to cold, you can lose your life from it in as little as 5 minutes.
You got a hold of her?
Signs of hypothermia include red skin, fatigue, and numbness.
I'm Take numb. A hand. Take the other one.
Completely numb.
So it's not looking good for her. Her core body temperature is lowering. Her organs are slowly turning off to preserve heat and protect the brain. They have one last chance to save her.
It's too hard. Come on! All right, stay right here. Stay right here.
I'm stuck.
Grab hold. 1, 2, 3. Up!
The police take over and get the job done in moments. One of the fishermen, an older gentleman, is absolutely exhausted and unable to stand by the time it's through. He and his friend are absolute heroes for not letting go until the police arrived, which actually took 15 minutes but to them felt like 5. The woman later said she was starting to lose consciousness, a sure sign that she couldn't have withstanded much longer in that cold water. Hopefully we can all learn from the scariest moments of her life and always be careful when fishing on the dock. Had other people not been around to help, she would have been lost beneath the ice. Humans are not the only ones spying ghosts in our midst. Animals are well known to be sensitive to various stimuli, often accurately predicting earthquakes before they happen and acting extremely anxious and skittish beforehand. These sensitivities also appear to include sensing paranormal entities. There are countless stories out there of pet owners describing their pets reacting towards unseen figures or becoming distressed prior to a paranormal event occurring. Happy Fox Productions is a channel making short films from comedy to action to drama. Things took a different turn on September 1st, 2020 when the channel uploaded a more meta video. Founder Justin Melson explains he was on vacation with his mother in December of 2019 when his home security picked up something strange. When he got home, he and his mom noticed the cats were acting different. Concerned, they checked the footage from the cameras and found something that shocked and puzzled them. As the video starts, one of the cats is visible on the bed, standing upright and looking around. She then reacts to something near the exit of the room, and right then an unexplained shadow is cast against the door. The shadow has physical features resembling a person, including arms and legs, and appears to be walking past the door and into the bedroom. As it fades from view, the second cat makes its appearance, seemingly following whatever was walking into the room. Both cats acting confused. As the second cat fully enters the room, a TV table in front of the camera rocks, as if something brushed past it. At the same moment, a dark mist briefly appears over the chair behind it before vanishing, and then the door starts closing on its own. The clip ends when the camera suddenly pans to the right, and Melson says it stayed there the remainder of their time away. In the video's description, he explains there wasn't anything out of place besides a few books knocked over, which could easily be dismissed as the cat's doing. But what doesn't make sense to him is he found clumps of cat hair around, a sign his cats were fighting. He found this odd as they had never fought before, and he has no explanation for why. From the sounds of his writing, it would appear he and his mom hadn't experienced anything out of the ordinary before, so why now? Well, people will certainly say this was simply a hoax as the owners have filmmaking experience. It doesn't explain the reaction of the cats. Herding cats means an impossible task for a reason, as cats can be difficult to train, despite being good pets. The confusion in the cat's expressions and their behavior after does sound some alarm bells. It is unknown if anything happened after, but we are hoping there will be a follow-up soon. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.